Hi there, Gemini, and welcome to your September 2016 reading. You can use it for your sun, for your rising, and for your moon sign. So welcome, and I hope everybody's getting off to a great start this month. Let's begin with our channeled information. And for you this month, I got the idea or the thought of delivery or deployment. And to kind of break that down into basic terms, that means that it's time to let go of something. If you've been holding on, planning, and thinking like, when is the great time to debut something, this month looks really good for that for you. It can also simply be sort of referring to what you've been holding too close to your heart. Sometimes I see an image like coming through as tarot because I use it so much, but it's sort of like the Four of Pentacles, where the person is holding a coin or a pentacle close to their heart, which is about fear over release, basically letting something go. It could be a creative project, it could be a crush that didn't work out, it could also be a situation that is no longer suiting you and is bringing stress into your life. So it's time to either deliver yourself away from that, or again to deliver something really exciting to the world. There are multiple ways to deliver and to release, because it's a little bit of both for you this month. Okay, since many people are experiencing sort of back to school, and whether you're a parent, student, or non-traditional student, maybe going back at a different point in your life and deciding to learn, I thought what we could focus on this month when it comes to the Catalyst card is, what is our key learning opportunity this month? It's not so much about how this is going to connect everything. It really is, what's your big lesson this month, and how can you best be prepared for that or be open to that learning opportunity? Okay, so we have the skills here, which for me also reads very much like a wands card here. So what this is telling me is, for many of you, what you really want to do is get more comfortable with either feeling like you deserve a certain role in your life or an opportunity. And the interesting thing about like going to school or training, certification, is a lot of times we already have what we need, but it's that process of taking ourselves seriously, going through and really committing to a path that makes us the powerful people that we are, or the successful on the path that we're pursuing. So even if you already have sort of like a natural or quote unquote God-given talent, it's okay to go and further that education. The other thing this card is telling me, though, is that for those of you that are just questioning, am I good enough? This card is saying you've got what it takes. So if you were maybe second guessing and thinking, again, if it's a creative project or if it's talking about yourself, coming out with a truth to someone, then the skills card is saying you have the skills to find a wonderful way to deliver your truth. Don't stress too much about it. Okay, so let's take a look now at all of the cards, and we'll probably get some additional insight on how delivery and this skills card is going to work for you this month. Let me shuffle. And as always, we'll do a general reading, and then we'll expand it out to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. So don't worry if those things don't naturally come through, although they usually do on some elements as I'm shuffling. All right, beautiful card at the center, Rebirth, showing the opportunity that is really not a dead end, but it's a new doorway. One of the best sort of transformation cards that I've seen. I love it. All right, so this month really is a chance for you to, if you are sharing something with the world, it could change everything in your life in a positive way, but it does mean new beginnings, and I know that can scare you. But look at the beautiful rabbit here in the front. That is a sign of fertility and of basically a plentiful amount of what you need. So don't stress too much. Let's take a look at everything and see where it looks like money is the big concern for you, but let me just finish pulling. So right off the bat, one thing that I'm seeing here is whenever I look at justice reversed, usually it's a very clear sign to me that it's time to step away from something, and it's time to move on, basically. So if there's been anything that you've been hesitating on, this could be, telling someone that you love them. It could be applying for a new job, giving notice to an old job. But typically it's a decision that's both an end and then with this rebirth card at the center, a beginning. Now I'm holding them upside down because I pulled them reversed. So the reversal of the renew card or the rebirth card is saying you have to take that first step just like this baby is here. And just like a child, it can be scary. But when we're looking at what's around, I told you it looks like opportunity is in front of you. And to basically go for an opportunity, you have to sometimes step away from something. So don't be afraid to take a risk if you've looked at all of the positives and negatives and you're ready to do that. What I see in your deep past is many of you, again, this is the skills card here. We have two, we got both the High Priestess and the Magician, and I'll talk about the Magician in a second. But the High Priestess is all about taking your intuition and mixing it with your knowledge. Really good card for authors, for painters, for anybody that works with their hands or anything creative and artistic, actors as well. This is a very good month for you to write a script or try to sell something that you've been working on. I really want you to let go of your creative, whatever you've been putting a lot of energy in. It's just like a baby. It has to get out into the world. And that's what's happening there with that card. So when we look here at the recent past, one cautionary tale with the Six of Pentacles is to be very mindful of what you want to spend your time on. The other thing is, if you hold back too much, you won't be able to go for something new. So we're getting more of that sort of support that letting go of one thing opens up new things. The other thing is saying prioritize and focus on finishing one thing at a time rather than trying to have like 4 pots boil on the stove. It's better to sometimes just make sure something's really put together properly. Money can be a challenge, but it's not one that is impossible to overcome, because the Six of Pentacles is a card of usually having enough or more than enough. Just you need to be mindful of how you put it all together. And what I see here with the Four of Pentacles card, which can sometimes be called like a work card, is just making sure that you are open to what is important to get done, and again, not holding on too tightly. You'll notice that this person has a little key here at the center. If any of you are feeling blocked, the reason you're blocked is because maybe a resistance to share your ideas with others, a resistance to listen to others' feedback. I would say you could step away from it. Do something that opens up your mind, frees your anxiety a little bit, even if that means something unusual like watching a movie or just hanging out with your friends. These things can sort of break the energy blocks, and laughter, joy, just relaxation can make you a much more productive person. So I see a lot of focus, if we turn the camera down, on prioritization, feeling like you have to be very, very productive to the point that you could block yourself. When in fact, when we look at this, you have everything you need. You don't have to go looking to other people. You don't have to worry, is it going to, will I still be able to make it all happen? I think you will, but you have to relax a little bit and allow things to flow a little more. We have a King of Swords card in reverse here. So one thing that can be very challenging for you about midway through the month is your communication skills. So either being understood easily or being able to use the right words or the right nonverbal sort of communication to get out what you want to get out. So I really want you to, maybe you need to practice with a friend, maybe you just need to sit down and draft a letter and not send it. This is a month to be very, very mindful of what's important and how your audience is going to react before just clicking send or tweeting something or sending a text. It's impossible to bring those things back once they're sent out into the ether. So use your words wisely and see them as a permanent sort of thing. Even though we work on these digital devices, it was sometimes easier a long time ago when everything was handwritten, because the process of going through this and all the way to the hand and writing it on paper and reading it on the paper, we had a lot of checks where sometimes we just crumple up the paper and start again. Now we just text and then click send. So I really want you to be mindful and draft everything this month. It'll be your best sort of saving grace, if you will. And again with justice, the alternate reading for this is there's also some things that you might want to take a look at with your legal matters, because justice has to do with contracts, it has to do with negotiations, and it also has to do with final decisions, like getting a judgment. Usually judgment comes through for court cases, but this could also be for a court case. Now with the reversal, you really want to have a very good representative, a good lawyer, someone that really understands your point of view, so that if there's any sort of loopholes happening, they're going to be on top of it. So what I see here in your environment card is some of you may also be stepping away from a very controlling person in your life. The Lord or the Emperor card comes through for a very, very strong man or woman that it's either their way or the highway, basically. So if you're feeling that, and I see justice underneath it, and you need sort of like encouragement or clarification that this looks like it's a good thing, it does. Because of all the swords around it, I'm seeing a lot of stress and tension with that person. So follow your intuition. The other good thing, because of the location of the Emperor card or the Lord card, is that whatever is out of control towards the beginning of the month, as we get into like the third and fourth week, it's going to start to settle down. And in fact, for many of you, whatever that next step is that's been eluding you, this card was reversed, by the way, whatever's been eluding you is now going to come into focus. The Nine of Wands is getting nearer to the end, and basically getting ready to, usually this person has all of those wands packed up on their bag, and they're ready to move, they're ready to try something new. So whatever hesitation you have towards the first or second week of the month, I really see you having a breakthrough. Towards the 19th to 20th, things should open up for you. Your final card for the month, your outcome card or your possibilities card, is this Magician reversed. So what I see you sort of vacillating between is intuition and instinct, and all of the skills that you have and all of the sort of knowledge that you have. What I don't want you to do is overthink. And this card reverse can sometimes show overthinking, and it can also show an inability to simply focus, and we talked a little bit about that with all the pots on the stove. So I really want you to not try to do everything at once. The Magician is a great card because she or he is capable of manifesting and doing everything. It's like the jack of all trades. But they're most powerful when focused. And so we have two cards here which are all about focus. The Six of Pentacles and the Magician. Both of them are reversed, showing me that to get your best potential, you're going to need to really limit things, say no to some people, and if you do this, I see some great outcomes. Let's look at the cards overall again. When you're ending with a power card like the Magician, and it was also in your deep past, the closer you can kind of get to working with what your core comfort is, your skills are, what your heart wants to be doing, the easier things are going to flow for you financially, which was part of this block that I'm seeing, and also creatively. So don't overthink. Again, if you're used to sort of like writing for an audience, don't. Write a good story that you want to read. And if you're used to negotiating and you're trying to just let them see your point of view, one of the great ways to sort of have an argument with somebody, and not like an argument where you have to win, but let's say a debate, it's a better word, is to concede to what they're thinking. So you always start with something polite at the beginning where you're actually happy and want to engage with them, and then say, listen, I know that we've had a lot of challenges here, and I actually understand where you're coming from. And I've been doing some research too to see how we could be, trying to meet you halfway. Here's my idea. So that's a much better way of coming at something than just kind of like going straight in. So a similar message came through for another sign, but for you, what this is really about is the delivery. This can also be the physical delivery of how you're doing it, and also the presentation, since delivery is on that. So use your talent, use your skills to really dazzle people. And don't doubt yourself. This card says you have a great intuition. A lot of times when I pull this and I'm doing a reading for someone, they're naturally intuitive on some level. And so what I see for you this month is that your own natural intuition is going to be readily available. Don't second guess it. Just move forward, go for it. And the closer you sort of stay to your intuition, the cleaner and easier and clearer everything is going to seem for you. All right? So let's expand your forecast and look at health, wealth, love, and destiny and see what's coming through. So for your health card this month, all right, this one jumped out, so let's see what it has to say. Inner authority, which is what I was just touching upon. Basically, I'll read a little bit here. It says, thank you for supporting me as I take my power back and listen to my intuition, desire, and feelings. So not to sort of like go too deep into this, but since this has to do with health, if you're feeling unwell, if you're feeling stressed out, and you think you know the root of it or the cause of it, this is the month to just simply not beat yourself up, but start to take action to improve that. So if it's a toxic work environment, finding a way around that. If it's a dietary shift that you need to make, talking to a dietitian, or starting to just eat healthier, more leafy green vegetables. And the other thing for this one that comes through is how's your sleep? Making sure that your sleep schedule is right. This is a very nocturnal card. And so if you are sort of hanging out with your iPad or your iPhone or Galaxy or whatever, and it's 10 o'clock at night, you need to put that down and try to regulate basically your sleep schedule, but also sort of the light in the room, how many distractions you have technology-wise. Taking care of yourself is going to be really important, and it's going to give you that energy that you need to properly negotiate if you need to, or make that presentation that you need to do. Let's take a look at your wealth and career. We'll start with wealth first. So for wealth, we're going to look at money, but money affecting your opportunities and what's coming through with your opportunities. So what we have is beauty, which is seeing that you have value when you're presenting what you want to, again, have somebody sort of purchase if you're a salesperson. Or the other thing is with beauty is you have to really pay attention to how everything is wrapped up, the delivery of something. So don't skimp when it comes to printing supplies. Don't skimp when it comes to interior decoration. If this is like a new office that you're opening up, you really want to make sure that everything looks great, because good content and good value in a bad package, it's not going to be received well. And this goes true also for how you present your own person. So make sure that your attire, that your grooming, and that your general sort of way of holding yourself, your way of speaking, is maximized this month, because it's really going to affect your success. Maybe you'll be more noticed, which will then help you in a couple months when review time comes through. So how you act and how you present yourself now is going to be integral to your success in the long run. So we looked at health, wealth. Let's take a look at love and relationships now. All right, so focus on your strengths. It's very close to what we were talking about with beauty, but for your relationships, this is not a month for you to feel insecure. We all have insecurities, but if you have an opportunity to be out socially with friends, to go on a date, what I really want you to do this month is just focus on the chemistry between you and other people. And if you feel self-conscious about how you look, how you sound, how much money you make, whatever the insecurity is, more likely than not, the other person's not focusing on that. We tend to have this internal dialogue or monologue with ourselves where we kind of go through all the I am nots, I cannot, I shouldn't, I am, all of these negatives, rather than the positives, which is, maybe I am kind, I am empathic, I try my best to understand other people's points of view. Like, go through and pick whatever is your positive sort of attribute or attributes, and focus on that. Start with one, because a lot of times it's a lot easier to sort of look at the negative and internalize it. So yeah, start first with thinking something positive about yourself and then adding on to that each day. And if you're on a date or a business meeting with somebody or whatever, you can basically in your head remember the 2 or 3 things that you can do well and use those as your anchors. And they're just going to notice, wow, you seem to have a really calm demeanor. You seem pleasant. You don't seem like you're uncomfortable, because when we start to think of these things, we tense up, or we slouch, or our body language will somehow be part of that. So the first thing you have to do is believe in your own internal beauty and your own strength. All right, so we looked at health, wealth, love. Now let's take a look at your destiny, which is your trajectory, your path, where you're headed. And it's really probably going to tie in with that skills card that we pulled for your catalyst. The word wants to be written. Okay, so I mentioned to be very, very careful with communication. Be very careful with the written communication this month. That's one cue. The other thing, which is cool with this, is the power of committing thoughts through either speech or words. Particularly though written language, since that's what this card is talking about. So we write contracts all the time in our life, or we create contracts. Sometimes it's just, hey, are you going to meet me at 5 tonight? Yes, I'll meet you at 5. That was a contract. Sometimes when we sign a check, that's a form of a promise, a note, I'm going to pay you this, or it's in the bank. Just take this check and cash it, it'll be there. This same sort of principle applies to the cosmos. So if you want to change things in your life, you can write it down and make it powerfully, have a powerful sort of effect on your life. So the first thing you can do is positive affirmations. Something like, I'm, like I said earlier, I'm a good listener. The other thing you can do is sort of an aspirational goal. And then you can start to change it. Say, I'd like to be successful. And then slowly change it into, I am successful and I'm a good listener. Anyway, if you start writing stuff out like this, when you write it, it's a contract that you created with yourself. And then you can even create your own sort of goals and then sign it if you'd like to and say, I'm going to work on this month. Sign your name. If you sort of do that, you can erase old contracts that were not beneficial anymore, and then create new ones that are going to help you. The same goes for releasing contracts, and it can be a verbal thing, or you can write it on paper and you can say something like, I release unhealthy desires, unhealthy habits, and unhealthy relationships in my life. And you can take that, and if you want to, you can also say, this represents all that I want to get rid of, and you can rip it up. There's a lot of things you can do with words, with actions, with speaking, and I want you to play around with it. And this is a form of personal manifestation, and this is what magic is. Basically changing your thoughts and your patterns, and then watch how the universe reacts to that, okay? So that's a little bit of homework that I have for you this month, is to work on rewriting your own contracts, your own truths, and hopefully changing your trajectory and having a more positive future. The history is just that, it's history, okay? And I want you to focus on the potential rather than that. Let's summarize and look at everything. Your channeled information this month was looking at how you deliver information, and also the delivery. I could have easily put a Y on the end of this. And when we looked at your expanded forecast, that especially came through on health, wealth. On the wealth, when we've got the beauty card, making sure that what you sort of put out there looks as good as it is. If not, then you're sort of selling yourself short. So looking at all the cards, this is a great month to affect change. There's a little bit of apprehension in whatever sort of, whatever it is that you want to sort of change and possibly birth out into the world. So it could be literally like giving birth to a child, but it can also be symbolically about letting go of something that you're just afraid that people won't like. When we look at this card, which I really didn't mention earlier, the Four of Cups, this is a stress card, and What people sometimes miss is that the universe is trying to give you a hand. So that's coming through this message now, which is, don't worry, it's time to let go. And what I see here as the actual truth of your money situation is you have enough, and I see here is that there's a block or basically a fear of not having enough. So focus on spending habits and budget, and then let go of the fear. Focus on the presentation of whatever it is you need to come out and share with the world, and let it go. Focus on written communication, and make sure you make drafts this month. That'll be your best friend. Your intuition's really strong. It's showing up at the beginning and the end of the month. Stronger at the beginning. So pull that through the rest of the month, and really listen to it when you're writing to make sure that the voice in your head that says, don't send this, or try saying this, that you listen to that. Really good month to look at contracts 2 or 3 times to make sure that all that's written is very clear. If you're feeling overly controlled by someone in your life, it's okay if you need to push back on the boundaries a little bit and say, I need some more space, or this isn't working for me. Some of you may be leaving a person or a job this month because of these 2 cards. And that's okay, because with the 9 of Wands here, not only is it, I feel like, overdue, but the timing is perfect. And as we look at your extended forecast for health, pay attention to your sleep schedule, trying not to have too many distractions like a television or digital device close to your bed. Also really paying attention to your own ability to listen to like what's not suiting you anymore, and letting go of that. So you kind of know what you need to work on this month. This card's saying don't delay, okay? But really do pay attention to sleep. That's one thing that I got when I saw this. Again, packaging of everything is as important as the content that it contains. That includes yourself. Focus on what you're doing great. Focus on, if you think of good leaders trying to win a political race, for instance, they're not going to sit there and talk about their shortcomings. They're going to focus on what they can do for you. Not what they haven't done, but what they can do. And so what I want you to do is that same aspirational approach. I can do this. I'm planning on doing this. I'm already starting this. Make it all about the now and the future. Stop beating yourself up over the past. Easier said than done, I know. This is more a word of encouragement than it's something you have to take, but hopefully you will. Finally, experimenting with how words can work for you in both releasing contracts and creating contracts. You have a lot more power than you think you do. Finally, that's what this card is saying here. That original Catalyst card is saying you've got everything you need. Some of you may want to take a certification course or go through a degree program, but the truth of the matter is you actually already have a God-given gift or universal gift. Just make the best of it. I hope this was helpful for you this month. If you ever need more one-on-one sort of reading, I do offer those, and I'll put a link in the corner, or you can click on the little info tag if you're using this on a mobile device. Additionally, if you want to stay in touch, one of the best ways to do that, of course, is to subscribe to the channel, but you can also sign up for my newsletter or join me on social networks. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And finally, I just want to say thank you, because it's your encouragement every month through the likes, the subscribes, and all the really nice comments that I get that keeps me going, and I know that this channel is making a difference, so thank you for that. Likewise, if there's anybody here that feels that this has been really beneficial and you'd like to donate, I'll put a button or a link as well at the end of this video. That's optional though. Thank you so much. Again, I appreciate your presence here and that you wanted to listen to what I had to share. So take care of yourselves, and I'll see you again in a month's time. Sat Nam and bye-bye.